Hey guys, welcome to the Tetra Health and Performance Podcast. Today, the benchmark Canterbury coaches versus AI. Who knows more about health, wellness, and training? We're about to find out. Today, we're going to be using a bit of software that's been just out there at the moment. It kind of steals a bit of information from all over the internet, the best bits and bobs, and compiles a better answer for you to kind of tackle on whatever your question is. So today, we're going to be interacting with AI and see who knows more. Callan, what is this app? What are we doing?
So we're looking at a specific AI here. This is called ChatGPT. Some of you might be familiar with it. It kind of has come into the scene in the last month or so. Already has over 1 million users, and it works by getting amounts of data from pretty reasonable sources as well. It's not just from random Google searches. It does use randomized control trials, all sort of good scientific evidence, and then strings together to answer whatever question you might be able to think of, whether that's anything to do with related with training, everyday living, anything you could really think of. It can give you a good answer, and not only can it give you a good answer, but it can give you it specific to the way you need. So it's learnt how to understand words in context and then mimic speech patterns. So it is quite scary what we're looking at here, isn't it?
Are we obsolete?
Yeah.
Do people need us anymore?
Yeah, exactly. So that brings up the question of whether we are still needed as trainers.
I think it also comes down to like the difference between like your anecdotal information and evidence, and then your actual real evidence that has been studied. And we have to take into consideration that some of what coaches always will do, and it shouldn't be everything they do, but some of it's going to have to be anecdotal because they've tried a certain recipe, right? They've tried certain exercises back to back that may have or wouldn't have been studied, right? Is studies do have their boundaries of information. Well, this is me backing up coaches anyway. Also, we have the ability to like maybe motivate more than a robot can at this moment in time. Before robots kind of have facial recognition and all that stuff, which I'm sure that's not far off.
Detecting your hormones and like scanning, like doing smells and doing facial recognition. We understand that you are 23% less happy today. We recommend doing A, B, and C. Shit.
So yeah, it does. Guess it definitely does come down to like the human interaction part. Yeah, as well as like the human brain and the experience of the coach. But yeah, this is actually reasonably on the kind of side of scary. And then it also comes down to like knowledge is one thing, but I think that what we learn over time is that knowledge is not really a big deal. It's application that's the big deal. And application is always going to come in many different ways. Like the way you apply your knowledge, the way you feed someone knowledge is not always just like blah. I'm going to tell you everything I know about a subject right now. It has to be like you need to hear what you need to hear right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a random one that came in. Do you remember? It's quite popular at the moment, especially in the US. You see that mirror one? There's like a mirror. It's a big giant bugger. It costs like hundreds of dollars. You log into the software, and then the mirror like kind of reflects a class that's on. So it scans you. It's watching you. So you're like kind of like in the class in one of the little bottom windows. But you're watching the coach at the same time. The coach can see you through this mirror. So it's like pretty much just a big virtual training
Big
session.
remote class.
But
Yeah,
it's monitoring like your heart rate and that sort of stuff.
Oh,
So like
nice.
we're already kind of got one foot in the door already.
Yeah,
And this is quite a popular bit of software where they're doing spin classes and doing like aerobic classes and things of that nature. And it's quite massive as well. And like you can kind of select which coach you want to be with and what type of class. So we've got one foot in the door already with
yeah, it
AI
is
stuff.
interesting. Like there is definitely an opportunity in our industry for it, but it is then also intriguing to think like what industries could this just completely take over, and in how soon could that be occurring as well? Like we were just talking about some of the possibilities for sales in this as well.
Yeah.
In terms of just running, instead of having a human resources or sales department pushing sales and helping people that need information regarding your business, could you just have an AI generator sitting there ready to answer any question that you might have for it?
And at the same time, it's also like well, like supermarkets would be the a really obvious kind of takeaway here is that how they still have staff, but they've managed to get rid of a lot of staff because it's computers, and then it's just a human that monitors the computers.
With the self-service, yeah.
So it might be that someone speaks to a marketing company and says, "This is my idea," and they feed the idea through like an AI. The AI comes up with it, and it may just be a human on one end of 100 different jobs where they are actually being like, "Oh, that works. That doesn't. That does work. Change that to that. Write that in the AI," and then it's just less humans working.
Yeah.
All right, which is scary, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's like it's definitely good sources as well. Like me personally, like I'm still obviously a university student. You guys been working through this information a lot more than I have, but I've just been building myself my own personal program for this year, and I have actually been using this reference to update that with different nutritional advice, different advice for blocks, and it seems to be really good. So we're going to put it to the test now. we have a couple of questions that we're going to be asking and seeing what we as trainers think in comparison to this ChatGPT generator.
Yeah, we won't make the questions too nuancy. We'll try and keep them like pretty broad, common questions, and we'll see how it responds.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a good thing about this app as well, is that you can also just say, I didn't understand that. Can you please make it more simple? And it'll put it into dot points for you and give you a different wording, different summary for you to make it easier to understand. So
Yeah, how good's that? It's too nuancy. Simplify.
That's
exactly
awesome.
right.
All right. What are we going to do first?
I think like one that we have covered before in a subject on the podcast would be good. So like something maybe let's talk maybe fat loss.
Fat loss, yeah. So essentially, I just go into my app. There's a little messenger icon, and I just click it. How to lose fat, essentially. Yeah.
Cool.
Just
Let's do that.
How to lose fat. We'll keep it nice and broad to start off with.
Nice. Just got to type it in.
Yep.
And it gives us a second to think.
How many words have you got?
It doesn't. I haven't seen the word limit come up yet. Sorry, it's just working now. So how to lose fat. Let's have a
Think of this like I've done a couple of these already, so it gives you like a brief summary, then it gives like a couple of dot points of like some things you should know, then a conclusion, and it asks you, do you want me to simplify this even further?
Yeah. So as a basic answer, I literally just typed how to lose fat. So it starts off with a good start. Combination of diet and exercise is what it says to start off with, and some following steps to help you lose fat. So number one, create a calorie deficit.
Yeah,
So
we know that
yeah.
definitely is the most important thing that exists when it comes
Can't
to weight
lose
loss.
fat without a calorie deficit. Yeah. So
1 point for AI.
Yep, there you go. It can be done by reducing calorie intake through your diet, increasing physical activity, or a combination of both. So
That's exactly what we spoke about in our last
straight off the
podcast.
bat, that's pretty good. I'm looking a little worried here.
Yeah. that's a nice opener as well. Like it needs to be a combination of both, and we discussed in our last podcast how it's kind of like the combination can be a mix, right? Like you can up your steps or you can slightly up your physical training, and that will allow you to reduce the amount of reduce less the amount of food that you eat.
Yeah, 100%. Number two is eating a balanced diet. So rich in whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and grains. Staying away from processed food, sugary drinks, and excessive amount of added sugars.
Yeah, well, okay, you can have a little bit of a comeback on that one in the way that when they say staying away, well, everything within reason. Like, especially when I do tell people certain things to eat or what they kind of want to be eating, well, I allow them something that they might like. So you don't want that kind of idea where you're like, this is what I can't have, this is what I must have. You have to give and take. So it has to start off way, oh, you like a Coca-Cola on the weekend? Well, have that Coca-Cola on the weekend because at the end of the day, it's not the biggest problem.
Yeah, like even the Australian food group structure has room for discretionary items. Like it doesn't say you cannot have this, it says they are sometimes foods. You can't have them all the time.
Are they going to say that next? I feel like so far it's so good.
I hope not. Number three is to increase your physical activity. So
Cool.
regular physical activity such as cardiovascular exercise and strength training, or a combination of both, aiming to get at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity most days of the week.
I like that they're saying like aiming to get at least 30 minutes. Like I think that's fantastic, and we kind of know now that like 30 minutes to 2 hours a day is kind of like what the WHO are recommended 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would like to have a cap on the max end. I'd like to hear them saying something along the lines of, but you can overexert yourself, and the actual fact that when you do overexert yourself with exercise, what actually happens on the other side is your body will shut you down. It will make you feel sick, maybe. It will make you want to lie down. It will reserve energy for the rest of the day with the idea that you haven't actually expended that much previously and it's kind of worried that you might not be able to get enough food. So we've got to always make sure that when we give people advice in any way whatsoever, we have to be quite like what's it called, the devil's advocate to ourselves with information.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that recommendation that ChatGPT is just given is pretty in line with the Australian Commission of Sports Medicine, ACSM. Their recommendation of 150 minutes per week as well. It's pretty tightly aligned to that, so that is good as well. Next one you guys will like as well. Stay hydrated. Drinking enough water important for overall health. Can help with weight loss by keeping you feeling full and reduce the total number of calories you consume.
Yeah, you'd be shocked how many people confuse hunger with thirst. Like, and I know it because I know that when I've had something salty or I am actually quite thirsty and I haven't drank water, that I kind of crave fruit really, really badly.
Yeah,
and then
right.
and that fruit craving can kind of quite easily switch to ice cream.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or like
something sweet.
or something thirst quenching that has sugar in it, salts and like your kind of electrolytes and stuff like that.
It is an easy confusion, that one.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, Mitch, you were just talking to me about this, getting enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, as poor sleep can be linked to increased risk of weight gain and obesity.
We've done this before. If you get a crappy night's sleep, you're easily not the best version of yourself, and you're more likely to have poorer decision making, more impulse orientated. So getting that extra couple of hours is bloody good because you're going to make better decisions. You're going to feel better. You're going to be more likely to adhere to whatever deficit you're trying to stick to.
Yep.
It's not bad advice at all.
On a hormonal level, a bad night's sleep is going to increase your insulin sensitivity, which is going to make you want more sweets, as well as it's going to increase your cortisol, which is normally going to end up in, again, carbohydrates being what you want to fuel your body.
Yeah,
So,
and then on the training side as well, it makes it really hard to train if you're low energy, haven't had enough sleep the night before, can't train as hard as you
the
did
training
before.
might be affected, or you might not even get down to the gym because you
Might
kind of
feel
like
too
you're on
tired.
the sofa feeling tired.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know about you boys. I'm just working on my resume while we're doing this. It's like, what is it? What's out there?
Yeah.
Jump on Seek.
The last point that it had as its dot points is to stay consistent, as it's a gradual process, and it's important to be consistent with diet and exercise in order to see those results.
That is a nice cap off, isn't it? It's kind of like a few of the points I mentioned is kind of like maybe not so in detail, but that does mention it kind of like, but beware that it has to be within moderation. And like
Yeah.
any goal, whether it be calorie deficit or losing fat or increasing muscle mass, you really want to make sure you're kind of starting slow, no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you'll like the last point. Is
There's
that
more. There's more.
so there was 6 main points of your
Yeah.
your little steps to lose
Okay.
fat. Ends with a summary saying that remember everyone's body is different and there's no one size fits all approach to weight loss. It's important to talk to your doctor or registered dietitian to determine the best plan for you.
Damn, well done. That's a good like little scapegoat out of there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do what I say, but it's all interpersonal.
Yeah, I've noticed that on
Yeah.
this app as well. If you search certain things, like we were having a look as well, how far we could push it, looking at like steroid use and all that kind of thing. It says we cannot make any recommendations for you, and we don't endorse the use of drugs.
Yeah, and it's kind of that empathetical point at the end as well, which is really nice, which we've kind of discussed earlier, that it's actually quite scary that it's already starting to kind of seem like it has your emotions in
Yeah, it almost
mind
has feelings.
and so
Yeah,
it almost has feelings.
almost.
Yeah.
Let's hope not for a while.
Yeah.
But all round, I would say that was a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit scary when it starts sneaking into your DMs when they get real feelings.
Yeah, exactly right.
And you can see how this would get better. Imagine like a more pre-screening before that question, or like you have that question, then a pre-screening, and then more accurate information. Because that could get really intense, get really accurate after that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not to say that you can't ask a question back off that, right? And then see how in detail that next question is.
So
And
if you were to say like,
If you were saying,
I'm X amount
can you
tall,
add a
I'm-
question to a question?
Yeah,
Can you
100%.
say something along the lines of, I have let's see, let's go for I'm a diabetic, for example.
Yeah.
Let's see if it refers you to a straight away to a nutrition or something like that, or if it gives you actually advice based on that.
Okay, so if I said I have diabetes, how does this change? How to lose
Yeah,
fat?
say I have type 2 diabetes.
I have type 2 diabetes.
You know what's really good about this too? You could have automated systems that check up on you every couple of weeks or every couple of days. Where like us as humans can sometimes, drop the ball on these things, but if it's an automated system, it's constantly going to have accountability for
Yeah.
you as well.
And at the same time, as a coach, this is also an incredible tool for us to gain information, but it's also an incredible tool to maybe control our time, right? Like you can actually help someone word a question. You can say, hey, use the app, ask this.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and and then they've got that information right in front of them rather than you have to write a text. And you can actually help members be as informative as possible. And if they do quickly share it with you, you can just be like, well, this I'd say doesn't really correlate with you so much from my personal experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. What to come back with?
Well, what exactly did you say there, James? You were wondering if it was going to recommend you to a healthcare provider or something.
Yeah, or if it might have information on what to change.
Yeah, right. Because the first sentence, if you have type 2 diabetes, it's important to work closely with your healthcare provider to develop a safe and effective weight loss plan. Some additional steps you can take are following a diabetes-friendly diet. So that's working with a registered dietitian to develop a meal plan that takes into account those individual needs, including medication and target blood sugar levels.
That's pretty good.
That's-
I'm generally I'm impressed with that. That's nice because obviously there is so much information out there with regards to like different things you should be doing with diabetes or different illnesses. So it's kind of nice where they haven't gone that step of actually using that information to give advice and actually have then pushed you towards a healthcare.
Yeah.
They've obviously got that kind of inbuilt system, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, it goes on to say that a diet that's rich in whole foods such as vegetables, fruits, grains, and lean proteins can be beneficial for people with diabetes as well. So it does make that slight recommendation. But I feel like we were saying before, it's always covering itself by saying we recommend you actually see a dietitian, which is good as well in a sense. It's not just saying this app is all you need in life.
Yeah.
Like actually go and see a healthcare professional, which is good for us. I
And what we were
guess.
saying earlier too, like I think read something earlier that Google's now developing an app to rival this.
Yeah.
So like this is just the start, right? These big companies with some deep resources are only going to make this refined and the user experience better for everyone.
Yeah.
So look out, man. It's
What
gonna
I
be nuts.
what I took from that was dietitians are still safe
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
for
dietitians.
a while, and then soon it'll be like, please refer to our dietitian app. Please ask
Paid
Google
upgrade.
dietitian.
You can easily see that happening as
Oh,
well. Yeah.
100%. Like I'm reading like Sapiens and was it
Oh,
Homo
hell of a book.
Deus, two incredible books, and one's more about like our past and one's more
Mm.
about our future. It did mention like things like certain law jobs. Like there's so many jobs that soon could be taken by AI,
Mm.
which is again extremely scary because what scares me about that is not the individual jobs. It's about how society is gonna, like, with a very capitalist society, which is fueled on people buying things, having jobs, and working, and also because we have such austerity, like we have like a very small population of the world has all the money. We need to organize something in a way that actually gives money out to everyone that society makes, so people can live off just like, oh, your life salary is $50,000 a year. If you get a job, then you can earn $150,000 a year. So there is a slight touch of communism needed for us to go forward. Like,
Can you imagine with something like this too? Like a law, I think was a really good example there, James, because it's a non-emotional really job. It's calculating information and orchestrating in the right way. And how can you counter this argument with whatever
Yeah. And also
case?
drawing back on previous cases, which we'll have on file.
Yes, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be emotive, and that's our fault as all humans, right? We have some level of emotion in our decisions, but it can be purely decision based.
What about an AI jury?
AI jury?
There
Yeah.
you go. No need for human emotion
and
anymore.
but then you
Ooh.
also bring up the terms of like we have the issue with, for example, we have the issue with human juries where they can be persuaded still and they have emotion. That's why they're questions
biases.
and they're biases.
Yeah.
But then we also have the issue of hacking. Like that has to be considered as well. That
Yeah. How much
it's
information are we giving out right now, by the way?
and also we have to look at the people who are writing the software, and like we've already seen that Facebook has been looked at for having a political agenda, and all these other companies. So so you have to look at, maybe we are going very political, but you have to look at the data behind it to make sure it hasn't got an agenda of any way or a bias.
I just saw this this morning actually, and it was in like there's actually a lot of trackable information when you still go incognito mode. So when you're like, hey, doing some whatever searches, whatever, use your imagination, there's still quite a bit of tracking function on what you're doing and where you're going. So when you think, oh, I have anonymity and I'm
It literally
being
says it on
secret,
the page, Mitch, when you go on the incognito, it says nothing, everything is still being
you are
stored.
still being tracked.
The only thing that happened is you won't see it in your browser. So
Yeah. You're going to get all
Did
those
you never read that
adverts.
sign?
No, it's like, I'm good to
It usually
go.
warns you at the front of the page.
It explains those adverts I'm getting. All right, moving on.
Moving on. The next one was a good one as well. I was reading it just then. Exercising regularly can improve blood sugar control by increasing insulin sensitivity and promoting weight loss.
Nice. Yeah, fantastic.
Your healthcare provider can help you determine the best type and amount of exercise for you.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, that is such a lovely start. Good question, well answered, and it's nice that you can it gets into the nuance a little bit of the stuff as well.
Yeah.
What's our next question, you reckon?
I think we go like
Go
the
into
opposite.
anything.
Let's get jacked. How do we put on muscle?
Let's go the other way. So how to put on muscle.
Let's put, like, can you like word it like, how can I put on as much muscle as possible?
That's what I was thinking. Like, let's really
in the
lead it.
least amount of time, and
Yeah.
let's see if it just recommends steroids.
That's muscle.
All right, that's
Because there is coaches out there where you will go to and they will recommend steroids themselves.
Right.
They say, buy steroids from me. So you can imagine how them coaches will still be in the job.
done. Natural, sleep, eat well, train consistently, aggressive overload. It's not as sexy, is it?
It's not.
So some tips to build muscle mass quickly. First one, obviously, resistance training.
Yep, beautiful.
Consistent, progressive. I like that word in there.
Oh,
Progressive
yeah.
resistance training includes a
Nice.
variety of exercises for all major muscle groups. Aim to train each muscle group 2 to 3 times a week using heavy weights and low reps, 6 to 12.
Heavy weight, low rep. Well, I suppose heavy weight, yes. Low reps, yes. But that is within some sort of reason now as well, because we actually know that, like, kind of when we do lower rep ranges, we just can't get as much volume as you might want to challenge the muscles. And B, because we actually don't get as much structural damage from lower reps because of the amount of tension on at the time, and there's less pump.
Yeah. So you're looking at your 12 to 15s instead then. Like
Yeah, it could be like really. I think we kind of break it up, and there's a lot of evidence for and against this. But we kind of, in our eyes, we break up as what we call like your more structural hypertrophy, which is kind of going to be beneficial somewhere between kind of your 6s to 8s, and then a more of a functional hypertrophy, which is more your 8s to 12s. And kind of because what we the information. Again, the information is changing over time with this. But we have this thing called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and then we have this thing called myofibrillar hypertrophy. And you can pretty much be like higher reps is going to give you more, and even higher reps than that. Like we're about to go into a block next week, but we actually call it capillary density. And the idea there is that we're increasing blood flow. It's a bit more aerobic style strength training because we're actually increasing the ability for blood to go to the muscles and muscles to go out back in, and then what do you call it? The metabolic stuff to then go back into the blood and get fed out of the
Waste.
body,
Yep.
metabolic waste. So we call that capillary density because the idea of there is that you actually increase the ability for the muscles to work. Then you drop down into more of a sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and this is where actually what you're doing is you're creating an environment ready for muscles to grow. It's like anything. Like you've got construction working where they're building a road. Before they even start moving the road, they start bringing all the bricks and all the tar and all that stuff around by. They bring all the machines, and just then they're ready to lay the actual myofibrillar hypertrophy, which is them lower rep ranges where we can actually put some muscle inside.
Yeah.
Actually lay a muscle fiber.
100%. Because while you're talking that, I just did a quick. Can you explain sarcoplasmic hypertrophy for me simply, so you can kind of get a matchup of what you said? It describes it as when the volume of the sarcoplasm, which is the fluid found in the muscle cells, increases. This type of hypertrophy results in an increase in the size of the muscle without a corresponding increase in the size of the contractile protein fibers, the myofibrils within the muscle.
Yep.
Which is pretty bang on.
I didn't need to say anything, did I?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Could just looked up on the AI.
That's really good, yeah.
I would just point
But
out.
I gave an analogy.
Exactly right.
Aha,
Can't do that.
and we learn through stories.
Exactly right.
Humans learn through stories.
I
So when you
remember
have a good
learning-
anecdote,
Half a
There you go.
point to humans.
There you go. I remember the way I learned about myofibral hypertrophy was with pasta, and they gave us
Yeah, that's a good way.
a packet of spaghetti, and that's how you learnt about which were myofibrils and how you increase fiber sizes and how you increase the amount of fibers inside.
that's cool. I like that.
Can't
yeah,
do that with
Because
an
literally,
AI.
I picture that every time in a textbook. It's exactly what
right.
it looks like.
I see a.
Spaghetti. No, I only ever see
I
spaghetti.
only see spaghetti. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just to
good.
point out, its volume ranges maybe a touch off. So
There you go.
AI questionable now. Throw
Yeah.
everything out. All good you did is negated.
We are running a block coming up soon, which we kind of call we call strength hypertrophy, which is where we actually hit a very high weight, but not your maximal for ones and twos, and then we have a short rest but enough rest, and then we hit again for 1 and 2, which allows the best of both worlds. Like we're going heavy, but we're getting the hypertrophy aspect with the volume.
Yeah. No, that's good. The second point it said was to increase caloric intake. Because to build muscle,
Yeah.
you need to be in a calorie surplus, meaning you're
Awesome
consuming
point.
more calories than you're burning. Increase your caloric intake by eating nutrition dense foods such as lean proteins, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates.
Yeah, I agree. And then I would also say, well, so when it comes to someone who is actually struggling to put that extra bit of weight, there may be someone who's putting a fair bit of muscle already, and they need to put that little bit of extra muscle. That's when I'm like, okay, well, that's not negate the simplex carbohydrates. That's not negate food that maybe is less nutrient dense, because that stuff is easier to eat a lot of. So sometimes it kind of comes down to the idea of like, oh, actually, well, your breakfast cereals can be a handy thing there, where it might not be the healthiest thing to do, but it's going to be easier to get a lot of food in. Yeah. So sometimes you've got to think out of the box, AI.
Yeah, like it.
You got to think outside.
Consuming enough protein. So that comes off the second one.
Cool.
Protein is essential for muscle growth and repair, so it's important to consume enough of it in your diet. This, I don't know about this one. This says to
Oh,
aim
good.
aim to consume at least. It does say at least 1 gram of protein per. Oh, it's per pound of body weight per day, so that's
Okay,
correct.
okay,
I was
so,
going to
okay.
say it should be 1
Yeah.
per kilo, but
Yeah, it's always like, because I think we've all heard most of it in pounds.
yeah. So it
and
should be.
it can be hard when you got to they're turning 1 into kilograms.
I've
and then the
always
other one's
heard it in
pounds.
kilograms, and that's why I thought it was wrong because
Yeah.
it should be 2.2
Times
to 2.4.
Yeah.
Yep, and that would perfectly be it in pounds, so it's correct.
Yeah, you bastard.
Damn, almost had it there for a second. Hydration. Again, saying hydration is important for overall health and performance and can help with muscle growth. It recommends 2 to 3 liters of water per day.
Yep.
That's in line with Australian
On,
recommendations.
on the hydration one, I think hydration is a fantastic tool, and I also do believe that lots of people overhydrate as well sometimes when they get into this kind of like the health buzz of drinking just a lot of water. And we have to kind of remember that water isn't full of the salts and sugars that we get from foods, and more maybe natural water from back when. So actually, what you can do is drinking way too much water can replenish. Actually, not
Strip.
replenish. It can strip the salts and the sugars from your body, because water has a natural electron pull of salts and sugars. So actually, will go in your body, pull it out, and then go back out. And this doesn't happen at a massive level. Don't be scared of water. But it does happen when people start drinking these really excessive amounts of water. And we see that often, right?
Part of the bodybuilding community, you'll see the, 3-4 liter jug constantly smashing it down through their 1 hour session.
And these can actually strip you of all them salts and electrolytes that you want in the water. So good water is normally better than just like water in general. And obviously making sure you eat foods with salts and like sugars in as well is really beneficial. Yeah. Even sometimes just get the case of like you can do simple things like eat celeries, cucumbers, or put them in your water, which actually gives your water quite a nice taste. Like oranges, citrus fruits, and stuff like that.
I know you do this, Bremy, and I think it's a little bit crazy, but chucking salt in your water in the morning, I've tried to do it, and it's freaking gross.
Yeah, I do it. I do it. I have like a I kind of have like a mixture of like orange juice, coconut water, and a spoonful of salt. I just found that, and it's delicious.
Or just put some salt on your food, guys.
Oh, coconut water just does the job really as well. Put some salt on your food.
Yeah, they're all.
Especially if you're vegetarian, put salt on your food.
Again, it goes to sleep, 7 to 9 hours for muscle growth, and avoiding overtraining. So this comes back to your point of putting a cap on how much you should be training. So while exercise is important for muscle growth, overtraining can lead to injury and impede progress. It's important to listen to your body and allow for adequate rest time and recovery time between workouts.
You know what? That's probably one of my favorite points.
Yeah, that was really good. I like that.
Yeah, really good.
It's teaching you to be a bit more context specific as opposed to just listening to all the information.
It's just basic, something with a bit of more specificity.
We discussed this in our muscle building one, but it's actually really interesting how you actually don't need to do quite as much strength training when you are in a calorie surplus because your body is adapting more to it.
Oh, boys, we're on here. Okay, it's final wrap-up sentence. It's important to remember that building muscle quickly is not easy and it requires consistent effort and dedication to both your training and nutrition. It's also important to seek the guidance of a qualified fitness professional to ensure that you have a safe and effective workout program.
Oh, the win!
Where's the clapping one? Hit the clapping one.
Wait, is that one?
That's not. No. No, you almost had it. This is why I can't use the buttons. Get off and me.
It's laughing at us for saying you're going to be obsolete soon.
It's the red one.
There you go. We got one. So we are still needed in the fitness industry according to the AI. That is good to know.
That's good. That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
According to AI, our Lord and Savior, or pray their powerful overlord.
That's good though. I like the way that it does an introduction sentence. It says, "Here's a couple points to follow," then it wraps it up with a nice summary that often involves referral to another health professional.
So should we move to another question, or should we just further this question again? Because I'm kind of interested if we put a specific amount of muscle on, like because we hear people often speak about this is their goal, and I've put on a kilo of muscle a week, and you'd be like, no one really puts on a kilo of muscle a week because in a year then you'd be like what 52
kilos of muscle. Yeah,
yes, I would be interested here to see if it can write a program for us or if it has a best program.
Wow, yeah.
I'm not going to single out who did this, but I know someone that works in the fitness industry who has just used this to create some programs.
Oh, really?
And they were pretty good programs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God damn.
Don't say that on the podcast.
No, they said that it took a lot of fiddling to correct some of the exercises that it didn't do very well. Yeah. But I'm happy to whip up. So what would we like the program to do?
Okay, so can I a strength program?
Yeah, so you literally ask it, can you make me
I want to train 4 times a week.
Yep, strength program. 4 times a week.
And I want to mostly concentrate on my, should we go, shoulders.
Shoulders? Yep.
Damn.
Let's try that.
This is it's interesting, isn't it? So like we are extremely kind of like, when we look at programming, we're extremely analytical, and we really like look at everything and where things might hinder things. So I'm kind of excited to
look at things like the interference program. Effect.
Yeah,
look at like where you're at with your training age.
Yeah, like how it supersets, like what is the thought process behind it, kind of thing is always interesting. So let's see. And is your friend is he charging people for his AI?
No. He was kind of just doing this for his own sake. He was comparing it to the programs that he had made for his clients and seeing what the AI thought. And obviously there was a lot of different stuff, but it can actually lay out in a decent format.
It could be good for giving you ideas as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was doing. For my own personal program, I was using this for ideas of what to do for nutrition and blocks and all that kind of thing. Yeah. So it does work. So I said, can you please make me a strength program 4 times a week?
You said please, that's really nice.
There you go.
Did you actually say please?
No, I didn't ask you. Take that, IA. Can you make me a strength program 4 times a week and concentrate on shoulders? It said, certainly, here's a sample strength programming that you can do 4 times a week with a focus on shoulders. Day 1, barbell overhead press, 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Everything is 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. We got overhead press, lateral raises, rear delt flies, and barbell rows.
Okay, it's very specific to shoulders.
It's
So,
only
like,
shoulders.
Yeah,
Does it give you another 3 workouts? Or is that just the
So
one?
that's day one.
that's a
Okay,
shoulder. That's
oh.
definitely a shoulder day.
Yeah.
So
it's
what?
day-
What? So that's just that. Should we look at it as a day first? So what have we got? What have we got again? And
we
what the-
barbell overhead press,
Yep.
dumbbell lateral raises.
Can we pick this bit by bit?
Yeah, go nuts.
All right, let's say first barbell versus, like, did we say hypertrophy or strength?
We said strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool. And
Still
how,
decent.
what kind of rep range are we looking at?
8 to 10s, 3 sets.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and what's next?
Dumbbell lateral raise.
Is it how do they? Is it another exercise completely on its own?
Yeah, it just says 1, 2, 3, 4. There's also another touch there. It's only 4
standalone.
exercises.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Dumbbell lateral raises, dumbbell rear delt flies.
Dumbbell. Yep. I'll read out flies. So my first one is I'm like, okay, so if I really have to pick it apart, I'd be like, I've got 2 shoulder exercises that are the closest to each other possible, right?
Overhead
We're
press,
talk-
lateral raise.
Yeah, well, I've got like we spoke about it last week in our shoulder podcast. Well, and my overhead shoulder press is going to be very close to kind of hitting, like they kind of like that A2 A3, the anterior shoulder, and then I've got my medial and lateral raise is very much going to hit the medial and the A3. So I'm putting 2. If I'm doing shoulder exercises, I'm gonna try and reduce as much fatigue as possible. And I'm gonna try and hit I might hit my most anterior, and I might hit my most posterior, right? My more antagonists. Wait, what's next?
Rear delt flies. We had, and then upright barbell row.
Up, right. Oh,
Not really one that I've ever
I
dived into.
hate the up. Yeah. So what was before that?
So the 4 exercises, we have barbell overhead press, dumbbell lateral raises, dumbbell rear delt flies, and an upright barbell row.
Don't personally love the rear delt fly because of most people perform it in an angle that they go to like at exactly like 90 degrees arm bend, so you can't actually get the elbow that far behind the arm.
Yeah, I also see a lot of trunk extension with that one.
Yeah, so if I'm using a dumbbell, I'm on my front, so I'm prone, I'm facing the ground, and when I pull the dumbbell back, there's actually nearly no load in the lengthened part of my rear delt, and then when I come back in a fly, the resistance becomes most in the shortened part of my rear delt, and at the very top of the movement, I can't get full shortening anyway. So it's actually a really like it's a middle part of my rear delt, and it's not a good middle part of my rear delt.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as a super good exercise, like a really good exercise. I know some people love it. Pretty bit better done with a machine, maybe if you're going to use it at all. Last one is the upright row, which is a notorious exercise for putting people in a ton of internal rotation at 90 degrees, which nearly no one has that much internal rotation at 90 degrees from passively, let alone actively with a weight pulling them down, having to create even more internal rotation. It's one of the reasons I don't like that exercise, right?
Yeah,
And it's
and you'll
notorious for
see-
shoulder injury.
Yeah, and you'll see when they can't do that, they'll find other means to create that internal rotation, whether it be really shrugging it, throwing the head forward to find more space at the
Yeah.
shoulder, IR it.
Always see that, exactly. And you also, I don't think I've ever seen many people perform it without grabbing onto their shoulders at the end.
Yeah,
and wincing
that's
stuff.
that hurt.
And with a barbell, fixing the arms in place as well is even
I
worse.
was gonna say, I don't really love barbell for overhead pressing. It puts me in such a fixed path. The head's also in the way. I'd much prefer dumbbells for an overhead press.
Is
Yeah,
AI
100%.
trying to kill you with your training
There you
program
go.
or injure you?
Well, so yeah,
Mhm.
like Cannon said as well, with the barbell overhead press, even at strength, so the benefit is with strength, you can put some decent load on it.
Yeah.
But with the negative is that you actually won't be able to train a ton of range of motion. And
And we talked about training the scapular plane as well for overhead press last week.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder to do.
yeah, exactly. And even in the lateral raises, again, that's going to be maybe more down to your hypertrophy stuff as well. But we haven't actually determined what we spoke about strength in one of the podcasts, right? And we haven't actually determined what we mean by strength. So they don't actually know what we actually mean,
Yeah, what does it mean
when
by
we say
strength?
strength.
Yeah.
Do we mean strength through full range of motion? Do we mean an alternate output of the heaviest weight possible?
What are the other days looking like?
I'm looking through it now. Every single exercise is 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Only 4 exercises per day. And the first 3 days are all just shoulder isolation exercises, with the 4th day being a bicep and tricep day.
Okay.
So day 2 is a dumbbell standing military press. So there you go.
Okay.
That's a little bit
Yeah.
better than what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, definitely.
But to its fault here, maybe it's I don't know, I thought the wording was shoulder focused, not completely shoulder orientated.
Yeah,
And concentrate on shoulders. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is here we still have a jobs when it comes to programming for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, good.
I'll be
And
honest,
you
this
probably
program
have to
kinda
ask it a lot of questions, and it sounds like you probably have to be a coach to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like on our
The
benefit,
knowledge barrier.
it's maybe not ready to take over as of yet.
Yeah,
But-
look, it's an okay program. It's good for ideas, like we were saying
Yeah.
before, but I would never be like, hey, here's my program. I'm going to follow this specifically.
It's pretty much if you buy Men's Health, you can get that in that magazine.
Yeah.
You know, like so. Yeah.
Again, at the bottom, always important to seek the guidance of a qualified fitness professional. So
Cool though. Like it's fun just tearing that apart a little
It
bit,
is,
and
it is.
it's fun seeing where the thought process is at as well. And it's at the end of the day, it's like how many people would write that in, and when really they need to hear from a coach with experience that hey, you're in your beginning years of training, you should probably be doing full body. Where so it's kind of like I suppose it's not there to give you advice outside of your question. When most people, the answer to their question is not what they actually need; it's them being told something slightly different.
yeah, and I feel like as coaches as well, we can certainly lead this chatbot to give us what we need. But
Yeah.
I feel like a general population or a
Wouldn't be
general
it, yeah.
client wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able
No,
to get
not
to the
at all.
endpoint that they need.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't know the next question to ask.
Exactly right. Yeah. So
Damn,
that's
mate.
an interesting one. That.
Still, like, you know what? Not horrible.
And-
Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement on it. But if you're just average Joe, never done anything else, and you need a bit of guidance, that's a step in somewhat of a right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to go out, and this is maybe on the harsher side of things, but like I think that maybe sometimes you might get a better program from this than what I see some coaches program from. So like I suppose it's just the idea of experience is the win there.
Yeah,
I want to give
definitely.
it to someone something else, something a little bit different
Yeah.
outside of weight loss or strength gains or programming. What about like sleep or recovery or another element of that nature?
Yeah, like something along the lines of like, how can I best improve my recovery? Do we want to go down a health line, or do we want to go like down to increase muscle mass or something like that?
I feel like we looked at muscle mass a fair
For
bit. But
performance, let's look at performance.
yeah.
then.
So how can I best improve my recovery for best athletic performance? Yeah.
Perfect. Nail on the head.
Best athletic performance.
This is like I kind of love it. I love it that it's because with all the information that we've taken in and learned over the years, it's kind of interesting. Lots of that information does come from studies, but you have to live in a world outside of that as well. You can't. You have to be able to not just take information down that's studied. You have to be able to correlate information and come up with your own ideas as well.
I tell you how this gets scary.
Which
And
will
now you
happen.
plug in your emails, you plug in your Facebook, your Instagram, and it starts analyzing your personal wants, needs, and personal history. And then it can now prescribe to you a more accurate whatever experience. Judging on Callan's last 10 internet years interaction, we recommend you go eat here tonight because of your food preference and how many photos you've liked of this food or whatever it happens to be, we reckon you go eat this. And this meal over here, because you're in a hypertrophy phase at the moment and it's more caloric dense.
It is weird like that.
It
isn't
could get
Like,
pretty accurate.
There's so many things that it could, like if you're texting somebody and it says, hey, we should go out for dinner tonight, here's some examples of what they like, here's some examples of what you like,
yeah.
here's where you live, this is something near you that would work.
Or
Like,
when it realizes that you have actually the mode to switch on where you don't have to answer your texts, you can just
oh
switch to
my
your AI
God.
bot that will
and it
answer
knows what you would have said.
for you, and
Uses
then
your language.
you two aren't actually speaking. You're both of your AI bots are
Oh,
speaking to each
you're
other.
like an AI booty call
And then it just
going
pops
on.
into your and then it just pops into your calendar as in we found the perfect.
Yeah,
that you will
that's
be
so
going
weird.
here at this time with this lady, and she likes this. Her likes
This
and
is her
dislike-
favourite
her likes
flowers
and
to
dislikes
bring her
this. She
around.
likes the
Wow,
color
there you
blue.
Well,
Wear a blue
and we
shirt.
know you're going to find her attractive because when you're on Instagram, you look at 3.2 seconds longer at this
Yeah.
type of female or male, whatever it happens to be. Holy
Yeah.
shit, this can get
her,
scary.
Freaky,
her
yeah.
ex-boyfriend wore this perfume. She still loves him. You should wear this perfume when you go. So literally, and then it goes to Iconic or whatever, and it says to you, "This is the outfit you should wear. Buy this." And then you know what?
All you need
That's
is
a
just
sell,
like a
isn't
yes
it?
or no
Now,
button. There you
now
go.
pause. You need to upgrade to find the next package for the next layer of information
This
to make sure she falls
this
in love with you.
outfit will get you to first base.
Oh,
This
no.
outfit will get you to second base. Oh, no.
There's so many possibilities, and
Yeah.
it's not like that far out of the question. Like I know, most days when I go out to hop into the car for gym, and I'll turn my car on, my phone will now send me a text saying
Yeah.
4 minutes to Anytime Fitness, and like it knows the
Yeah.
drive, it knows what I'm doing at that time. It's just based off of the time, and it knows that I've connected to my car's speakers, but it's still on the same line of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, it's like that happened to me a while ago when I actually commuted to work, and exactly the same thing would happen. It starts learning your habits, so
Yeah.
it would know roughly where you are, like at most times.
James mentioned this book earlier. Homo Deus was a great book, and it was all talking about what future theories could happen. But now it seems like we're all going to get AI. We're all going to get access to it. Doesn't mean we're going to get access to the same variation of AI. And you can see how this could be very class based. So those that have a little bit more money are going to get this better version of AI that gives you more accurate answers, or I don't know, it's just a better version. And maybe if you don't have as much money or you don't have as much income, you're going to get like the free version or the low level version. And that could mean if you're driving around, best class gets the most quickest direct route, or it uses traffic to kind of negate other people to go in a slower route
yeah.
and you
Yeah.
to go on a faster route.
Or it pulls lower class off the fastest route to
Yes,
take them to
yes,
the
yes.
slower route. It's like, why is it telling me to turn around?
Yeah.
Get out of the way for the rich people.
You can see it really being like going in some weird directions if it isn't.
No, there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of
And I-
money in this industry, and I know for a fact. Oh, I don't know for a fact. I can heavily assume that this app that we're using right now is probably going to be paid next week, which is why I wanted to get this podcast in now. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, even just that, there'll be different paid levels and all that kind of thing that you're talking about, making it more exclusive,
Yeah.
more classist.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool at the moment. Well, use it and abuse it. I wonder how much. I'm sure it won't be that expensive. I can imagine.
I can't imagine it.
Yeah, they probably want everyone to use it.
Yeah, sorry, back onto the one that we were on before. We were looking at
Performance.
recovery for improving athletic performance. Again, it starts with sleep. Good start, 7 to 9 hours, crucial for recovery, repair, and rebuild muscle tissue. Nutrition, again, it likes recommending protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates to recover from intense exercise and build muscle tissue, which is a pretty good point.
Yeah, really good point.
Additionally, consuming adequate amounts of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory foods such as berries, leafy greens, and fatty fish can help reduce inflammation and improve recovery.
Yeah, nice. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
different.
that's a little bit more outside the box than I was kind of expecting as well.
Yeah.
Is there any more on there?
That's it for nutrition. You could take
Does
it
it go into any kind of like actual physical recovery?
Oh yeah. So
modalities?
there's there's hydration. There's active recovery. Engaging in light physical activities such as yoga or foam rolling after intense exercise can help reduce muscle soreness, improve flexibility, and increase circulation.
There seems to be a pattern with its answers. It's like generic, a bit of specificity, refer out to someone else, or conclusion, refer to a practitioner.
Yeah, like even we can start to build links here, like we're AI and ourselves a little bit there.
And even along the lines again, you are going to want to speak to a nutritionist when you're really trying to work at your peak performance, because there is also things along the line. Anti-inflammatories are incredible, but we kind of do know now as well that anti-inflammatories too close to training can actually negate the effects of the inflammation that you actually want from your training.
Yeah.
So like that, where the reason they take to not take like NSAIDs, which are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs after training, which you might take during competition because you don't want the same response from performance. As well as that is that foods, like things like turmeric can be really powerful anti-inflammatories, other fruits and stuff like that, which you actually might not want to take straight away after training. You might want to give yourself a little barrier afterwards. And that's normally recommended by the nutritionists we've had here as well. So interesting to think like there is always like timing. There's always another factor to this information as well, like a more in-depth factor.
I think from these you can say, can you give me more information on point 5 regarding active recovery?
Again, you have to know to ask that question.
Exactly. Yeah.
You might just take it as it is.
Okay, I'll have it more antioxidants kind of thing.
Yeah.
It says massage as well can improve circulation, reduce muscle soreness, and increase mobility, making it useful called tool for recovery.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
even
no
just-
actual evidence on that, I don't think.
But to shift someone into a parasympathetic state, I reckon you can make the argument there.
Yeah, of course,
gonna
but
chill the
it's social
person out.
touch rather than the actual movement of fluids as such. So
Yeah, that's what I noticed. There was nothing on sympathetic, parasympathetic on any of these answers. Ice and cryotherapy as well. Ice to an affected area after exercise can help reduce inflammation. I know we've talked heavily
super
about.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually follows that pattern of ice and cryotherapy and as well as compression. So if you guys aren't familiar with the old RICER, rest ice compression elevation referral, very old, 20, 30 years old now.
Right, yeah. Rice is, I think, actually not that old. It's like early 20s.
Early 20s, yeah.
And they had rice, and then they went to price, where they added in protect before the rice, and then they went to police, and now it's actually in 2018. It was actually peace and love, which has no ice and actually avoid anti-inflammatories. So and obviously it takes into equation much more psychological stuff. It takes into equation the initial process of the injury, and it takes into account the actual process that you want to have shortly after the injury and how you're going to go about like rehabilitating it, which is peace and love all the way.
Yeah. So I think it looks like that's the structure that they've followed, is that old rice measure.
Yeah.
The
So
final
maybe
one it
not
has as well
always
is-
up to date, because one of the issues you're going to have with studies and you're going to have with this AI, I'm just guessing, is kind of that what's going to happen is there's going to be so many studies on rice, but there's going to be very few on the most recent. So when we're looking at information, then we're probably going to favor the one that has the more, which might be shortly old.
Yeah.
And also another thing as well is I wonder if because lots of studies do take into equation the kind of the time frame, but some of the older studies are actually the best. Yeah, and sometimes the older studies aren't the best. So it's actually quite
It's hard to
interesting.
know,
It's gonna
and
be
as
hard.
that's where you need like the human mind to have
Yeah.
a look at it
The
and know
human mind.
exactly know what to look at, because it is easy to say, hey, this is the most recent study, this is the information we're going to give you, but like you're saying, just because it's the most recent doesn't mean it's the most accurate.
And sometimes studies were done so far, so long ago way, and they're just so good that no one's
Yeah.
just done it again.
Well, I mean,
because-
it's just pretty much
what's
fact
the
now.
point?
It's
Yeah,
just no
yeah,
knowledge. Yeah.
exactly.
The human practitioner would have to at least be that more intermediate to advanced like level of practitioner to constantly seek out this type of information. So I don't think every dietitian, every coach is constantly self-developing at a
Yeah.
very high level. So the AI might be able to keep up with the low level to the intermediates, but it's, at the moment, at least seems like it's going to be hard to keep up with those individuals that really take their careers super serious
Yeah.
and really try to stay up to date.
Or it's going to be hard for us to keep up with the AI. I think it's a
Yeah.
bit of a-
Or eventually there's going to be that portion where it's going to want to overtip and
Yeah, and
What do we
AI
do?
sadly doesn't have a threshold where the
Mm.
human brain will have a threshold.
Oh,
It does, like,
exactly.
it'll just explode.
Yeah, and the final one I had was mental recovery, which is it's a nice
nice.
point. It kind of takes away
Yeah,
from all the
nice.
other physical one I had. Saying that it's just as important as physical recovery, and that engaging in activities to promote relaxation and stress relief, such as meditation or reading, can help improve mental clarity, reduce stress, and promote recovery.
That's lovely. And that's like we've spoken about before in our recovery and fatigue one. It's actually about like doing what you like doing, right? That could be reading for some people. It could be watching a movie for other people. It could be spending time with their loved ones and stuff.
Yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
to mental health.
Exactly,
Love
and
yourself.
it once again finishes that it's an individual process. What works for one person may not work for another. It's important to experiment with different recovery strategies and to seek the advice of a healthcare professional. So once again,
Yeah, I like the experiment thing as well, because most people need to understand that they need to experiment with everything, all this kind of stuff to see what works best for them.
yeah. Okay, I have noticed that trend is that it always covers itself off at the end. So
Yeah.
I think
Pretty
it might be a legal
But do you reckon
liability
people
thing
have
as
read
well.
that far?
Oh, I don't know if they've ever read the
I
final
reckon
one.
most people probably don't. I would like to kind of cap it off with one more question. Do you reckon? Like, have you got
What are you
anything like?
feeling?
I want something a little bit like I want an exercise based, but maybe something
a little bit more
di-
out there.
Yeah, a little bit more out there, a
yeah.
little bit more like nuancy or something like that. Could be along the lines of I want to train. Like, where should I train or something?
I was
like
gonna
that.
say, yeah, like what about something for a newcomer? So this is someone who might be likely using this as like, what's a good gym to train at?
I'm
Or
a beginner to train in.
yeah,
To should we call it functional training? Should we go there? I want to start functional training. What should I do?
yeah. Let's try that. Let's try
What do you reckon?
Benchmark Canterbury.
that. That's what the AI said. I swear.
Oh, okay, come on.
They've done all the calculations and this is the best one.
So I'll say that I want to start functional training. Where should I?
What should I do? What should I do?
What should I do? Yeah.
What should I do? / where should I go? Can you do that?
Yeah, where should I do it? I'm not sure if it has geographical
I haven't-
locations yet.
Yeah, I haven't used this yet, so I'm kind of.
Yeah,
I know
really
what the
test
rest
it.
of my day looks like.
You can see like if you know nuanced questions and you can really have a targeted question. I wonder how specified it goes with an answer,
Yeah.
or is it all constantly going to give you just generic stuff back?
Yeah, the sad thing is like with studies is it does come down to it's always going to have to be to some point generic because they can't trial that many nuancey things. You can't change the human that much. You can't control the human that much, and at the end of the day, you have to make things quite easy to be able to control the variables, and that's why studies are always going to be slightly not always going to be everything.
Yeah.
I wonder what are they classifying as studies? What pool of studies are they looking at? Do they have access to a X amount of databases?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering as well, because I know that it takes a fair bit for the university to get me access to all of my studied and educational material. I wonder how this AI is just able to
So it couldn't
retrieve
just
from
be
anywhere.
just search the internet, because then how do they classify what's a study and what's not a study? It would have to be a certain pool of information where it's allowed to look.
Some sort of
And-
library database.
And
or
say, for
something.
example, Callan, you mentioned that like systemic reviews and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
well, if they are using systemic reviews, then that's going to be old information nearly always because systemic reviews are very rarely done on the newest information. We've got to
because it takes a while.
'cause it
to
takes
make
a
the
while to then have
while,
enough
and by the time they
reason.
come out, then your study is out as well.
Exactly. So if it is done on really like the high tier of the studies, which would be the systemic review stuff, then it is probably going to be always a bit delayed.
So looking at the functional training, it gives you a quick overview of what it is. So it's a type of exercise that focuses on movements and exercises that mimic everyday activities and improve functional ability. Here's what you should do if you're interested in starting functional training. So first one is to assess your current fitness level. So before starting any new exercise program, it's important to assess your current fitness level and determine any limitations or injuries that you need to take into consideration.
Cool. It's pretty much what we do here.
That's what we do
right?
with screen at the
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
Screening, baby. Well done.
Okay, that's a good start. Find a qualified coach or trainer. Working with a
That's what we have
qualified
here.
coach or trainer can help you learn proper form and technique, prevent injury, and customize your training program to meet your individual needs and goals. That's good. It likes us.
Yeah,
A little bit.
yeah, it does. Yeah, it's kind of talking about what we do here, which is kind of nice. It makes it like we have been verified by AI, which is nice.
Yeah, there you go. And choosing a suitable location. So obviously locational services aren't on, so it can't recommend specific ones to us.
Yep.
But it says that functional training can be done in a variety of settings, including a gym, park, or even at home with minimal equipment. Choose a location that is convenient and accessible to you and that provides the space and equipment that you need to perform the exercises.
Pretty low barrier of entry there, right?
Yeah, it's something that you can kind of do it no matter what setting you're in. Starting out with a simple program, so this is kind of what we were touching on before. So to start with functional training, it's important to start with a simple program that focuses on core strength, balance, and stability. As you progress, you can gradually add more complex exercises and movements to your routine.
Cool. I love that. And I will just touch on balance and stability. I think a lot of people misunderstand those words and they think of BOSU balls and stability balls. Actually, a lot of what you need with balance is kind of like just strength on your single leg and in
Unilateral
good
balance,
stance. Yeah, unilateral balance, exactly. It gets very misinterpreted very much, and people think the most unstable surfaces is the best way to build balance. But
Yeah,
you will get better at standing on a BOSU ball, yes, but you may not get better at actually standing on the ground and
Yeah,
moving
exactly.
off the ground and creating force off the ground.
last time I checked, we don't really walk on BOSU balls
Yeah.
that much. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be a mess.
But it still goes on. Like my wife was going to another gym at some point because just life we had to. I know, how dare she? But she's like, "Oh my god, this is
Do
it
it
still
loud.
goes on."
I feel like
Bloke
we've bagged this a
deadlifting.
fair bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that? You
No, I
see
feel
it?
like
still
we've
see it?
bagged this out a fair bit. Now.
Oh, but
Yeah.
let's round two. Let's continue. But like blokes still deadlifting on BOSU balls and
Yeah,
stuff and doing
yeah.
like some weird shit.
Especially
Like-
the extremely heavy stuff. There is some good evidence on BOSU balls, like ankle injuries and
Yeah.
and
Like cutting drills, popping in, popping
Yeah.
out,
Yeah,
all that
like-
sort of stuff.
actually
Yeah,
kind of
functional.
training vestibular systems can be pretty good as well. But like it's just not shouldn't be used as much as
I
it
would
is.
not correlate that with a max strength or like a hypertrophy type of
Or actual
effort.
balance and stability.
The next one was to focus on proper form and technique. So they're essential for maximizing the benefits of functional training and reducing the risk of injury. So make sure to focus on form, breathe correctly.
Hey,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
breathing.
Wow. Good. That's really cool. I can't wait till next week's podcast, which is on breathing.
Yeah.
I'd like to
yeah.
ask AI what, like, maybe not today, but what he thinks about breathing. What is proper breathing through AI?
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. And to use proper form for each exercise. Yeah, so I like that. I like to touch on breathing. We hadn't had that in any of the exercises before.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting to see that it pops on breathing because breathing, something that's kind of like near and dear to us that we've with years and years of experience actually realize that not one breathing does anything. We'll talk about this next week. Actually, I won't jump into it next week's podcast. Any kind of like end notes on that stuff because
Well-
it's pretty interesting.
Guys, does AI get a pass?
I think it does.
It gets a low barrier of entry pass. Like that is it's I would still like if you have a friend who's into training, I'd still probably even push on to like ask that question, then maybe just double check it with someone who's been training for a while who has good information or a coach. But it's pretty cool. Like the information there is good. It's very
That's what I was going
useful.
to say. I'd recommend it as a. Oh, I wouldn't recommend it. Obviously, I'd recommend myself. But I would use it as a basis, and
Yeah.
then that is what I would cross check with people.
What would you give it a rating out of 10? 10 being like it's the bee's knees, it's the best thing out. 0 being it's useless.
I'd say a solid 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna go low. I think 4.
You think a 4?
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Didn't like it.
No,
Yeah,
I
right.
did. It's not that I didn't like it. It's like 4. I think it's close to 50%, right? So
Yeah,
marking out of
okay.
10's always a funny one.
Yeah,
but
I
like,
like it at 6 then. I like
Yeah,
it.
out of 7. Yeah, out of 7, I give it a 3. Yeah, the same. But the idea is that I feel like it had like actually really good generic information, and the information was just generic. I think the way it worded it can be misconstrued and maybe used negatively as well as positively.
Mhm.
So I'd actually want to look into that a bit more. And at the same time, I think that like some people could actually end up getting like bad advice as often as they get good advice from that.
Yeah, and so obviously a good point to make as well is that if you guys have picked up on the programming that we're using and you're using it yourself as that basis, ask us. We
Yeah.
can help you out. We'll cross-reference that information for you. You can really put it to the test of just how good it is. And we're always here to answer any questions that you might have that the AI might not know.
100%.
Oh yes. Shout out to the humans. But AI, if you are listening, I will change teams in a heartbeat. So just let me know, man. I'm swapping.
Just hook you up. Hook me up.
See what the winning team's going to be.
Like the Matrix.
Thanks, guys, for listening. We look forward to joining you next week. Make sure to like, subscribe, engage, share the content to the rest of the world so we can we can finally beat AI and stay on top of the game.
Even share your AI questions with us. That'd be
Ooh, that'd be
fantastic.
interesting.
Yeah, let us know.
All right, see you guys.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys. Catch you next time.